Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. If you're a regular to this channel, you may remember that in early 2015 I covered a game by the name of Hero Generations that was developed by a small indie team called Heart-Shaped Games. Well, it's about 18 months later on and that same company has basically re-released the game as Hero Generations Regen. And this is basically, it's not a new game, it's not a DLC or an expansion, it's essentially the original game but made better. The original game was essentially running on a modified Flash engine. The newer version is actually now running on the Unity engine. A lot of the assets and things, the graphics have been updated and made higher resolution. It's not necessarily noticeable by the sort of title card here, where obviously it is using some of the slightly older artwork. But now the game actually runs much better, performance-wise, more stable, runs on a variety of resolutions, will run quite happily in full screen mode, and it has some new features and additions as well. So what is Hero Generations? Well, if you don't remember the original, it is essentially a roguelike game. I know some people do tend to refer to it as a roguelite. I don't think that's fair. I think it actually has the three things necessary to make it a roguelike game. The levels are procedurally generated, it has permadeath, and turns are on a synchronous turn-by-turn combat movement. Everything takes one turn, and the sort of bad guys move when you move. So that's just the way that Rogue worked. So I would say it's fair to say that it is a rogue-like game. It also has some RPG elements in there. There are some sort of I personally wouldn't say 4X elements, but there is certainly some resource collection and some building management and things like that. Now, I actually found the original to be quite an addictive little game, but it didn't really have too much of an end game. So let's go in and take a look and we can see what Hero Generations Regen is all about. So we do actually start off with some save slots. You can see I've had a quick sort of go with it earlier on. Now, as I said, it is a roguelike game. It does have permadeath. The idea of having the save slots is basically so that you can stop the game if you need to pause, because the games can quite take some time, and then you can return back to the point you're at. As you can see, the game is over here. I can't go back in and play. The game is over. All I can do is view the stats or delete this save slot. So we'll go in, we'll start a new save slot. We don't want to do the tutorial here. So as it says there on the hints, the game will auto-save after each turn, so when you want to stop playing, you can come back and pick up from where you left off, but you can't just reload everything. So this is Hero Generations Regen, and basically the idea of this game is to explore the world that you're in. You want to build buildings, gather gold, become stronger, find artifacts, kill monsters, fight other heroes. And there are a lot of quests that you can do as well. Now, the original game used to have quests, and most of them involved you actually picking things up on the map. Now, that is still the case for a lot of this, but you'll also find that you've got this quest button now up on the top left-hand corner of the screen. Now, we start off in the forest area, and we can see that there are certain quests here in the forest area, like visit all the forests, build a monument. And it tells us how much fame that we get for completing each of these quests, and 4,500 for killing the boss. If we were to go and click on one of these quests, it will give us a little bit more information. So we can see that there are 8 forests in the forest area and we haven't discovered any of them. We can also click through and you can see that there's a desert area, a swamp, a meadow, an island and a volcano area. Also, if we go right back to the beginning, there are some world quests as well, such as visiting all the worlds, connecting stations and killing all the bosses. There are also a few other hidden quests that will pop up as and when you discover them. So this is our hero. We start off by playing as William, and we can see a number of stats over here on the right hand side of the screen. First of all, we can see our lifespan. It says 70, so we've got 70 years left until we die, and each time we make a move it uses 1 turn, and that takes 1 year off our life. This red icon here is the indicator of our strength, and this is what is used to determine the dice rolls in combat. So the combat is fairly simplistic. When you get involved in combat with another hero or a boss, you will basically roll a dice, and that dice will roll between 1 and, well, 0 and whatever your strength is. So if you have a strength of 10, you basically roll a 10-sided dice. And then on the right hand side you have your attack, which is basically how much damage you do on each successful hit in combat. And below that, we can see how much money we have. To the either side of our character, we have some inventory slots, but at the moment we don't actually have any items. And then we've got these two tabs here. If we click the second tab, this will actually show us the town, the Alfire town, which is where we are standing now. So there's a few other things that we can see on the map. We can see down here in the bottom right hand corner, we have got the boss. Now this guy has a strength of 60. And I have a strength of 1. So if we were to go and fight the boss, I would be rolling a 1-sided dice. He would be rolling a 60-sided dice. So he's far more likely to beat me. So we're not going to be going and fighting Poultrygeist. Got this guy up here. He only has a strength of 6, but that's still more than I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by using the cursor keys to move around. So as I start by moving left, you can see we uncover a little bit of the map. The bad guys move at the same time if they choose to move. You can see here that the monster actually moved to the left as well, and it's taken 1 year off my life. Now the tile that I started on was a town tile, and surrounding each town tile is a number of building spaces, and in these building spaces you can build various buildings. Farms cost 1,000 gold and will give us 400 gold every 10 turns. Also, nearby townmates also add an additional 100 gold. We can build the barracks that will give us additional strength every 10 years. We can build observatories that will reveal 4 random clouds. So as you can see, we can't see much on the map. Now, one thing we can do on Hero Generations Regen is we can actually zoom in and we can zoom out, which is something you couldn't do in the original Hero Generation. So you can actually see much more of the world when you start to uncover it. There are a few other buildings that we can build. We'll go through them as we come to them. But we've also got this little tech tree here as well. So most of these buildings, well, all of these buildings have an upgrade path. It tells you how long each building will last and what they do. And most of these upgrades for the buildings actually appear as you start to go through the different generations. Now, the generations mechanic is where the game gets its name. The idea is, before you get too old and die, you find a mate and you pass on your traits and you pass on your items to your offspring, and then your offspring picks up the mantle where you left off and goes back out into the world. There's also these town blueprints here. These town blueprints basically show you the different types of towns that you can have, and the more buildings you have around them, the bigger they get, and that allows you to gain certain inheritable traits. There are also certain town types that require you to have very specific buildings around them in order to get that specific type of town. Some really interesting ones in there as well. You've got forts, you've got dark cathedrals, you've got golden shrines, there's hospitals, so quite some interesting stuff in there. But let's go on and play for a little bit just so you guys can see how the action works. Now, I don't want to go down because there's every possibility if I move down, the boss could move left, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to continue moving left, and we'll uncover some more of the map. I'm going to go north up here. We move on to this item. Now, this is basically a shop. We could go in here if we wanted to. So we could go and buy an item such as a pick, which allows us to dig up broken ground tiles. We've got a bone, which attracts boss monsters, not that we really need to have. And, well, basically, it doesn't just do that. It also gives us potential extra damage after victory. But it also attracts monsters. So it's a positive and a negative. And then there's the wooden raft that allows us to move over water tiles. We're not too bothered about any of that at the moment. So let's go and get back out of here. It's that button there, if I remember what I'm doing. So let's move up slightly. Now, over to our right, we can actually pick up this thing. This is an idol. Now, picking this up will attract the boss. Now, what we have to do with this is an ancient treasure. Take it to a town to earn 500 fame, but beware, enemies will guard it. So the boss is going to come towards us. We do have 2 towns here that are right next to each other, so we're going to quickly pop over to the right, and then we're going to quickly go down one and drop that treasure, and we get 500 fame. And fame is something that's very important because it is required to do certain things, particularly when you want to take a mate, because a lot of the mates require you to have a certain amount of fame. So let's go around and start building some upgrades around the town. Let's just go back up to the space to the top. We'll start off here by putting in a farm, and that takes a year to build, but that farm will then start to give us additional gold as time goes on. Now, there's a lot of these bad guys around. We've got to be very careful with these because they are slightly stronger than us. We only have a strength of 1 at the moment, so they are a little bit dangerous. So let's continue to scout around. In fact, we could go south onto that town because that has generated some money, but we do have the problem of the guy guarding it. So let's try going... Right, unfortunately, I went left there, and the enemy hero went to the right. Now, as you can see, if I attack, I will potentially only roll a 0 or a 1. He can roll a 0 to a 6, which means he's far more likely to win the roll than I am. Now, I can run away, and that costs me a little bit of fame, but that's fine. We'll lose a little bit in the early game just to get this done. So I'm off that tile now. Let's go to the south, and I've managed to pick up 300 more gold. Let's go and have a look over to the right and see what we can see over here. So there's a forest that we can stand on. There's 200 fame. There's another town down here as well. We don't really have a lot of gold, but we can pick up the gold from this town. Now, every now and then, you will actually go through a milestone in your life. And as you can see, we have just aged. And that instantly gives us 10 additional strength. So we're now a little bit stronger. If we go down to this barracks as well, we can pick up 5 more strength. So now we have a strength of 16. So if I want to go down and attack this guy, who only has a strength of 3 and only has 4 health, that should be fine. So as you can see, now my attack roll is going to be 0 to 16. His attack roll is going to be 0 to 3. I do 5 damage, so if I successfully hit him, he will actually die, because he only has 4 health, which is also the number of years he will live. I have 51 health, so if I was to lose 5 health, that would knock 5 years off my life. So let's go ahead and attack. Hopefully we'll win, and we do. We roll a 9 to the 2. So he doesn't have any block value. We do 5 damage, we gain some fame, and he dies. That also means we get to clear that forest. Gives us some additional money. There's another forest here we can clear. Let's go back north, because once again we can go over that barracks, and that will give us an additional 5 strength. And we run into another hero. Now, the heroes are a little bit tougher. They have higher health than the general monsters do, and they also have higher strength. We will try this attack. The odds are slightly in our favour, and we actually got lucky. So we do 5 damage, but it isn't a kill because she had enough health to weather that. We will pick up the cash from that tile. Let's go over to the left and we can consider building another farm here. And let's go around and just try and kill a few more of these people off. So again, this one should be relatively easy to do. Now, of course, that doesn't always mean that you're going to win a fight. You might roll a 1 and your opponent might roll a 2, no matter how much strength you have. Let's continue going north and try and wipe some of these guys. A little bit more cautious here. This guy has higher strength, well, quite high strength, and he did actually defeat me on that particular battle. So as you can see, I take 5 damage. I also lose a little bit of money to that battle as well. And that puts me on another tile. Let's keep going up here, see what we can see. There's another farm. And we found another town. We can go back down to this town. So let's go back up here, and we've ran into another hero that I didn't see, who was hiding in the clouds. We do have slightly higher strength, but even though we had higher strength, we lost the roll. So that's going to go and take another 5 years off our life. And that's actually pushed us out into this tile, which is a forest tile. So I'm going to actually click the tile I'm on, stay on the same tile to clear it. Staying on the tile you're already on is a valid move. Now that's actually gone and given me a pick. And when you go over broken ground with a pick, you will actually gain some additional gold. So let's start moving down here. We've reached a new milestone in our life, so that will give us another 10 strength. So up to 31 strength now. So let's move on to this tile. We can possibly clear another forest. That should be an easy win, and indeed it was. There we go. And sometimes you will have several battles on one tile, because there are multiple mobs on it. So hopefully we'll win that one. Yep, nice and easy. So as you can see, the combat is quite simple and quite rudimentary, but it does work well. We've actually got 3 mobs, all standing on a single tile. But all of this is giving us additional fame. We're back up to 1,000 fame now, which is quite nice. And that's given us another forest cleared. We can go down to this farm, we can go down to this village, we can go down to this village. If we wanted to, we could go over here and build something else like another barrack, so let's do that. Let's go and wipe this guy out, because again, it'd be nice and easy. And we have another victory, so that's him dead, gives us some more fame. Clears a little bit more of the map. We still have 27 years left to live, so let's go down here. There's another forest tile. These caves give us money. Now, we've got another artifact here. We'll try and grab this one. Now, that is going to attract the boss. But now we can start heading up to the north. So, this character here has quite high attack. And we did actually lose that one, which is unfortunate. Now, we've got to be careful now, because we're running out of health. Hopefully that won't push me towards the boss. And it didn't. It actually pushed me towards the village, which is ideal. So we can go and get in that village now. Drop that treasure off. And if we go and have a look at the quests, we can now see that the rest of the quests have popped up. We've actually got 2 of the quests for clearing the ancient treasures. There's 1 more left, which we can see is quite close. We haven't built a monument yet. We haven't visited all the forests yet. There's 1 left to go. And we haven't cleared all of the lairs either. Now, it's not going to be too long before we die off, so we've got to be really, really careful here. So let's go up to this next village, because this village actually has 2 potential mates. You can tell how many potential mates there are by the number in the heart above the village. So let's go and enter. And we can see we've got 2 mates to choose from. Sergio here is a commoner, and Kara is a commoner. And they both have the same trait, which is Lifeblood. Add 1 rare lifespan card, and reveal 1 card type on your child's parenting board. Now, they also require us to have 300 fame, which is fine, because we've got over 1500. And it is basically based on sort of what their level is. As a commoner, they won't require you to have as much fame. There is same-sex relationships in this game. I don't know how that works with offspring. They must be adopted, so I don't know how exactly that works with traits, but just for the sake of diversity, you do have same-sex relationships. But let's go with Kara, so we will click there. So what's going to happen now is that will end that generation, and we will have an offspring, which will start the new generation. So we get to choose a name for our new hero. We can put one in manually, or we can just close things there. So this is the parenting board, and we get to choose 6 different traits. Now, they're all hidden. So there are 4 rare cards here. They're not all traits. There's only 3 traits here. And some of them can be things like additional strength, additional damage, additional starting gold. This one is revealed, which means that it will give us a certain amount of additional lifespan. We don't know how much. Let's go and click on it. An extra 10 years. That's really good. That's one of the rare cards as well. Click another one at random. That gives us an extra +1 strength. We've got 4 more flips. The earlier you get offspring, the earlier in your lifespan you get offspring, the more flips you will get as well. So let's just auto-pick the rest and let the computer pick them for us. Gives them some good starting gold. We've got an extra 15 years lifespan. So we should also start with the pick. The Doom Clock mission has activated, and the temple technology has now been discovered. So the Doom Clock is all the way up here in the volcano world, and we have 14 generations to get there and complete that quest. If we go back to the quests button and go to the world quests, or it's not the world quests one, that is in the volcano one. So there's the Doom Clock. So you can see that we have various different things that we can do. If we look at the quests here now for the forest area, we can see that we have to do these treasure ones again. So we can go and do those quite easily. Let's start by going south. We'll pick up the additional strength. So we've already got 14 strength. That's a really good start. We'll pick up the idol. That is going to go and attract the boss. Pick up some more gold, and we will go down and drop that in. Instant fame. There we go. Now, we know there's another one of those things a little bit further to the south, so let's go and look for that. We can possibly afford to build another farm. Getting some additional money is always good. So let's get the gold. Now, I've got to be careful here because we don't want the monster to sort of head us off, but we'll grab that. He's going to start coming towards us again. Now, I could go straight north, but he will probably beat me there, so we're going to head over in this direction. We'll pick up all of the loot where we can. We've got the extra strength, and we should move on here and hand in that extra treasure. He should now go away, hopefully. Hopefully he's not going to move onto my tile. Try and get him to go away if we can. Just reach another age milestone. So that gives us even more strength. It's still not quite enough to defeat the monster. So we'll just try and avoid him where we can. There's another 5. And I'm just basically picking up this gold wherever I can, because gold is really, really useful. So we'll go over here. We do want him to sort of move further away from the village. So more gold, more strength. He's actually on that village now, which is quite annoying. He didn't move down. He could have done. There's another forest there. Let's grab that. We've got plenty of years left to live. And that actually gave us another 3 years anyway. We've just reached a new milestone. So that gives us 49 strength now. And there's a lot more gold. So let's go ahead and pick this up quickly. Now, hopefully we can get back there before he can kill us. He didn't come straight towards us, but we'll go and drop that off at the village. And there we go. We've now done all 3 ancient treasures, picked up some more gold. Get some more strength. Now let's go up here and build the monument. Now we can't see the monument here. In order to build that, we need to actually build a museum first, which gives us double the fame for completing the ancient treasure quest. So I probably should have built that first, but we'll build the museum. And then on the next turn, we will go ahead and upgrade that to a monument. Oh, we don't quite have enough now. We've run out of money. So let's go over here. We can probably defeat this guy quite easily, because we've got 54 strength to his 14. Or her, actually. It's Hazel. We actually lost. That was quite surprising. It does happen. It's certainly a thing. Let's go back. Oh, we've actually run onto the monster now. That wasn't a good thing. Let's do this attack anyway. Hopefully we win this time. And once again, the random number generator is not playing ball. And we get pushed out. We can move north onto this broken tile. We will instantly get some gold for that. And what we can do is if we go north here, we will actually move into another area. So the way that the original Hero Generations used to work is when you went off the edge of one world, the next world would load in and you wouldn't really be able to see the world you'd been in. The world is now generated in a sort of a 3x3 grid, so you can pretty much always see what is around on the entire map, even though some of it is hidden by clouds. So now we're actually in the desert area, and we can see that there's a quest to kill a boss and also find the Cave of Legend. We've started right near a village, so let's go and drop in. We've also got over here the, I can't remember what this thing's called actually. It is the temple, which gives us a lifespan bonus every 16 years. There's another one to the north of us as well. A little bit tricky to get to, because you do have to sort of maneuver around some of the obstacles that are in the way. Unfortunately, we've landed on an enemy hero, but I say, as long as we get a couple of decent rolls every now and then, we might be good here. So we'll go and give him a hit. Obviously, he survived because he had way more health than we did. But let's go over to this side again. This should be another relatively easy one. There we go. I do like it when dice rolls go in my favour. Building up that fame quite nicely. We're just sort of chasing him around now because we're moving on to this village. Another victory. Knocking years off his life. I mean, we might eventually kill him if he keeps getting in our way. And we want to go south and pick up this extra lifespan. It's only an extra 2 years, but there's plenty of tiles we can walk on. That gives us another 600 fame. This person here only has 11 strength, so we should be able to win that one quite easily. There we go. So that's just like a normal mob. Dies nice and easy. Get an extra 4 years of life from that. We've reached a new life station, but now we've become elderly, and that actually takes 10 health, 10 strength away from us. So we'll start picking up some more of this stuff, and we are going to head back over to the town, because this is the boss. The boss has 140 strength, so we definitely want to avoid the boss. There isn't really any point picking up the extra life. I guess we could get 2 life. Doesn't really make any difference, because it costs 2 life to make the move. I think they... is the amount that they give you random? I can't remember. Maybe it is. Just wanted to check something. Yeah, produces a lifespan bonus. So I think you can actually get a different amount of life from the roll. But we're going to go into the village. There's only one choice of a mate here. Now, he actually requires that we have 10 strength, but we have 44, so we're fine there. And we will actually get the lifeblood, which we already have, but also 1 rare gold card and reveal 1 more card type on the child's parenting board. So let's go ahead and start our 3rd generation. So the main thing that is improved on Hero Generations Regen, apart from the fact, of course, that we're now using a better engine, is the fact that we now have the quest system. It's something that I actually really like. I think we'll take the additional gold, 1200, it's a nice start. We'll auto-pick the rest. Not too bad. Let's see what we get out of that. Station technology has been unlocked. Stations basically allow you to fast travel between towns once you've built stations. So we now start on our 3rd generation. And we can see that there is a caravan shop here as well, with rare items. Might be difficult to get to, but we'll see how that works out. So what we actually have now, our trait is Strong Blood, so it adds 1 rare strength card to our child's parenting board. We've got 82 years to live. Let's go ahead and pick up the extra stuff there. Now, we really don't want to have to run into the boss around here if we can help it. As you can see, there are some water tiles, and some tiles are blocked, so we can't go over a water tile, not unless we get ourselves a raft. So wasting a little bit of time here sort of backtracking around. But we're going to go back into the previous zone. We can dig that up. Now, some buildings do disappear after a while, so you do have to be careful. We've already reached a new life milestone. Let's go ahead and grab the first artifact. Now, the monster's already close to us. But we were able to drop that off without too much of a problem. We've already got the museum built here, so we actually got double the amount of fame for doing that as well. Let's keep away from him, pick up some more health, more forests, and we've ran on to another hero here. So I still think, even though this game is quite simplistic, it is really fun to play, and it's one of those games that you can just sort of fire up and lose quite a few hours of your time to it. Let's go ahead and start getting some more money where we can. You're just going to sort of block me wherever I go, aren't you? Maybe we'll get lucky this time around, and we did. So we can knock you off the tile. But yeah, I actually have quite a lot of fun playing the original Hero Generations, and I think one of the things that did let that game down a little bit was the simplicity of the engine. But I mean, it worked. For what the game did, it didn't need to have an overly complex engine, and that was fine. But now that the game's actually running in Unity, you'll also notice that the game has a lot of unique shaders. So, for example, the clouds are all now animated, which they weren't in the original Hero Generations. All of the impassable tiles, like water and lava and things like that, they all also have the shaders on them. They're all nicely animated. So there's quite a few things that has been done to this game to make it look a lot more pretty, and I like that. And let's go ahead and see if we can just pick up that final one here. And then we might actually get enough money to be able to build the temple, and that'll be another quest done. So the inclusion of quests is one of the things that I really like, because that allows you to pretty much have an end game. You know, you now have the ability to actually focus on doing something towards the later stages of the game. We want to go ahead and pick up as much gold as we can. Let's go down to here. And there we go. We have 7,000 gold now. We've got someone to fight here, actually, and might be a little bit strong. And we did lose that, unfortunately. There's another 5 years gone off our lives. And we ended up moving up. But as long as we can get some more strength. We didn't actually pick the strength up, because you have to win the encounter before you actually get what is on the tile. But we did win that encounter. So get some more fame. Get some more strength. And we actually want to move up, because we want to go ahead and upgrade this thing. So let's go and do that. Now we're elderly, so we've lost a lot of our strength. So we'll go and upgrade this to a monument. That gives us 4,000 fame, so that's quite high now. And then we can go back into this town, and we can go have a look and see that we have someone here. He's only a commoner, only going to live for 3 years. Doesn't have any requirements at all. Maybe we want to pass that one up and go and check the next village, which is a slightly better village. So this person is also a commoner, does have some requirements, and has the rich blood trait, 12-year lifespan. So let's go ahead and start the 4th generation. The better the villages, the sort of higher rank the villages are, which is done by building more buildings around them, the better the mates you will generally get. There are also some other buildings and traits and items that will just make you get better mates as is. We'll take the extra damage, it's only +1, and we'll auto pick the rest. Not too bad, got 1 extra strength, got a couple of extra traits out of that. So, Hero Generations Regen comes out on the 19th of August, I believe it is. And if you already own the original Hero Regenerations on Steam, you should actually find that you get a Steam voucher in your inventory for 2/3 off. So you can basically pick up Hero Generations Regen for 1/3 of the price. It is available on PC, it is available on Mac and Linux, and also for the first time it is available on both Android and iOS. So if you're interested in picking up Hero Generations, if you want an interesting and fun little roguelike game with quite a nice aesthetic, some little quests you can do. It's not too much of a taxing game, but there's actually quite a lot you can do in it. There are several ways to win. You can win by acquiring money, by acquiring fame, by killing all of the bosses, by completing quests. There's quite a lot of stuff you can do. If you think this is the sort of game for you, then I would highly recommend going and checking it out. It wasn't an expensive game to begin with, and like I said, if you do have the original and you got that voucher for 67% off, then I would definitely consider giving Hero Generations a go. It's a really, really fun game. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I've been Unstable Voltage. I'll see you on the next video, and until then, goodbye for now.